Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome and thank you for watching. I'm here with Hans for another Q&A and everything that I don't know because my knowledge is little. I will go into channeling mode and we will have answers from the Elohim.
So thank you very much. I'm excited to have a couple of more questions. Please, all listeners, just be grounded and be open-minded.
I think I'll try to answer, and when I feel I cannot answer, I will bring them in.
Oh, that's very good. Okay.
Yes, and I think we also need the human part we all have to deal with. I'm not a special person. I'm a human just like you and everyone else. And I have this connection that we all have because we all have a kind of a direct connection if we go within via our heart to source all that is with that divine spark in our soul. So maybe I'm just a little bit earlier, although I think I'm late to the party because others started channeling much earlier than I did, but who cares? Here and now we are, right here and now, and we all need some upliftment and some answers. So here we go.
Yeah, it's so important because as scientists already found out, when we are in a good mood, our immune system is too. So when you go into the dark side, your whole system is like more vulnerable to the outside impact of information or whatever comes your way. May it be some bacteria or may it be just some new idea of something you should fear or whatever. So it's very important to do something for to be in a good mood. So if you are ready to be in a good mood, keep watching. What I was wondering, especially, is like when you are as a person, when you are exposed to some channelers, you go somewhere, you read it in the newspaper, you see a sign, or you go and you are close to some channelers. Does that affect you? Is there maybe some magic happening that you yourself are opening up a little bit more to your ability to channel?
I think that's definitely the case because that is also why in ancient spiritual traditions, kind of the master always had a group around them that wanted to be near him just because of his frequency and vibration. And as we live in a microcosmic field that is nearly 30 meters around us, invisible to our normal 3D eyes, but it is made of energy, and energy is light and vibration. And light and colors can also be translated into vibration, musical notes, mathematical numbers and codes, or into feeling. And my guides told me the entrance is via the heart. You have to feel more, center in your heart, and stuff like that. For years and years, they told me. So if you are near a person that has a little bit a higher vibration of you yourself, you feel that. You feel automatically uplifted and you open up and more ideas and inspiration comes from out of yourself because you're letting go and opening up, you can receive more. So being relaxed, like closing your eyes, doing breath exercises or toning helps to get into the relaxed state because already closing the eyes is a signal to our biological vagus nerve to relax. That's when what we do when we go to sleep. We close our eyes or when we meditate. So we go into our inner world, and that already is a very wonderful step to kind of tune in more to energies. So if you are near to a channeler or a person on her or his spiritual path, the vibration of that person affects you.
So we can say that like when there's a real channeler, he's vibrating in a higher frequency.
Yes, You brought it up, a real. So here we come to the point of discernment, who is real and who is not. You have to feel that, and it's not the same for everyone. What my neighbor might like and profit and benefit from, to me might feel not so good, because we're all individual and we need different kind of energies um, at different times. So to me, it's just because of my musical eye ears and my musical interest. Some people I can't even listen to their voice because the voice is transportating sound and vibration. And there are some people around that have kind of a squeaky voice or something like that. And oh, this kind of makes me close up because I feel, no, this is not the vibration I'm okay with. And that's totally okay. You have to decide what information you take in, and you have to feel, what does it do with you? Does it uplift you? Is it positive? Or does it bring you down? And then it's, of course, not positive and beneficial for yourself.
Yeah, that's great. I think so. Everyone should notice we are not the government, even if if we recommend something or we um, express anything. You have to check for yourself if it's useful for you or not. Uh, just an idea for you listening. So, hmm. I'm going to read some of the questions that came up recently. I don't have too much of questions, but maybe just enough. And if you have questions, listeners, just leave them in the comments. They will inspire us to bring exactly that what you are looking for. So, what did I have here? I have, how are we able to overcome our situation of not knowing enough to evaluate situations in our life?
Again, I come back to feeling. Whatever your head, your intellectual brain information tells you, your brain cannot feel. And feeling via the heart or your gut feeling in the solar plexus chakra, the seat of intuition, you might not get a verbal explanation, but you feel attracted or repelled. And that is kind of the first mechanism of your body, which is a wonderful biofeedback mechanism to tell you what is good for you and matches your vibration and what is not. So I don't listen to the news any longer because just half a minute and then it brings me down because it's all about war and terror and horror and what have you. So this is kind of information that is not uplifting. It is kind of bringing you down. And it's not that I'm not realistic or suppressing that. I know what's going on in the world, but I just don't focus my energy there because energy goes where the focus is. So if you focus into the problem, you create more of that because the universe works like that. Where you put your focus, there the universe kind of thinks, oh, she or he likes that, so we give more of that. So it's better to focus onto the solution, what would help, what can better the situation, and then your focus and your energy goes there, and then you get more in that positive space. So that's what I can say to that.
I'm astonished because that's that sounds like someone who's talking about the YouTube algorithm because machines are now doing the same. Like when you watch a certain video on YouTube, and then the algorithm or the machine learning, the computers behind what's in front of you, what is offered, they work exactly the same way. If you are interested in channeling or in predictions, look what comes up. Here we are. So, and this happens with machines. This happens with AI now that you ask certain questions and it gives you exactly the answers you already are looking for. It comes, you shout into the woods, they say in Germany, and it echoes back. Exactly what you were shouting into the wood is what is coming back. And
Because you're
so,
giving out your
yes,
frequency.
yes, okay, yes. And then it vibrates, or you enter a certain frequency, and you are attracting that same frequency manifesting in all forms and colors and tastes. And
Exactly. And as we, in fact, there is a very old saying, there is nothing new under the sun. In fact, we cannot invent something new. What we invent now, like AI or whatever, and algorithms, it is already there. We are kind of just remembering it and now bringing it into form. And the whole universe is built in energy, sacred geometry, and math and sound vibrations. So, in the end, we ourselves are a binary code, thinking we are a human person running around on this earth, having experiences. But nowadays, science tells us this is kind of a simulation. So we're a binary code having experiences in some kind of virtual reality that we think is real. Feels very real if you stump your toe, but that is just an experience. And most of the time we spend on the other side. Our soul is always in kind of the so-called beyond. And this 70, 80, or 90 years of an incarnation in 3D form and matter is just a tiny part of the whole spectrum of time that the soul spends. And as we have parallel incarnations and in other dimensions as other aspects of our own soul, this is kind of blowing the mind because we're somehow everywhere all the time, and we just have this kind of tiny focus now and here, in the here and now, our now incarnation. But there's so much more.
but especially everything that's happened right now and here is something that is important because it happens in front of us. So it has a meaning. There is no coincidence. Everything that happens is for a reason in a way. And many people might struggle when they interact with others because sometimes, you encounter some people and you feel like, oh, I really should disrespect this person. This is such a stupid. He's really annoying and just in front of me. So what do I do? Do I run away? Or the deeper question is, how can we learn to respect other people?
Well, in fact, you treat the so-called outside world and other people like you treat yourself inside. You should become aware of your own inner self-talk and how you treat yourself. And of course, you can avoid and run away from people or energies and influences that you do not like. But Yeshua gave a wonderful hint how to act and not react, being triggered by someone who's annoying. He said more or less, bless your enemies. You send them love and light. You don't have to agree with them, but you don't disrespect them. You send them love and light. You wish them the best for their spiritual soul journey wherever they are. And that keeps you free, the other one as well. So you don't have to engage into an argument or a fight, and you even send the other one positive energy. And as the Indians in Hindu tradition have this saying, Tat Tvam Asi, that is you, the other one is you as well. So you're sending good energy, love and light and blessings to yourself. That's far better than starting to argue and fight with someone. And this fighting is only because we are so identified with our persona, with the ego. In ancient Greek, in the theater tradition, they had only two masks, the one smiling and the other one, it was comedy and drama. And persona, coming from the Latin word, means to sound through. They had the mask in front of their face and they were playing a character in the comedy or in the drama, and they were speaking through the mask. So that is a wonderful metaphor that our soul or higher self is kind of sending impulses, is sounding through our persona. And we are trained to identify with ourselves, who we think we are, our story, and everything around. And we have forgotten about the bigger us, the soul that is kind of trying to sound through this dense 3D material vehicle that the soul is incarnated in the right here and now moment, because there's a reason why we are focused right here and now. Here's where the music is playing. And the first hermetic law, I think, or is it the second? I don't know the numbers, but who cares? One hermetic law is there is no coincidence. It is all synchronicity, and synchronicity is the way how spirit communicates with us. If we only listen and recognize the signs and the feelings and listen to what our gut tells us.
There's a lot of people here right now. They are getting a little bit anxious. They're like, "Oh no, another lesson." It's okay, but I actually, why I came here, I have an addiction. I have a prediction addiction. So the next question is for you. You were like waiting like little kids. What's happening now? What will be in the future? Where is my gift? Should I be careful about something? Is there some kind of urgent information that we have to be aware of for the coming month?
Not in the sense that you asked for it. My opinion, my take on it, because you can get distracted in the outside world with all the kind of nightmares of maybe a war coming and here this catastrophe and so on. The one thing that is very ancient and old, but always very actual, is your own inner personal transformation. And that's, to me, the most important message. As I resonate very much with the Gnostics, the Greek word gnosein means experience. So I'm all about your own inner experience, because that is the only thing of real value for you. It does not help you on your own spiritual path to know what will happen tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, or whether a sack of rice fell down in China. It only matters, how are you feeling right here and now? And what can you do if you're not content, not feeling good? How can you uplift your own vibration to a better, higher vibrational state to receive more? And about the future, the Elohim told me the future is not set in stone. It is a field of probability and possibility. That is, of course, formed by past decisions you made, but you have kind of the free will choice to change it right here and now. And so there are different timelines. Whatever you do may change your own timeline. The kind of great timeline for humanity at the moment, I was told by my guides, is the best possible optimal timeline for ascension of the whole planet with humanity. Of course, only the ones who want that. There will be people that do not want that, and that's okay. There is no judgment in that. Because if you feel you need more 3D experience, of course, then you won't choose ascension, then you will have more of what you desire, and you can have that. While others kind of go into another timeline, seem to vanish from your surroundings and kind of live already in another vibration and another realm or another world. So I'm not very much into predictions because they can change, you know. When I did my public events of demonstration of mediumship with question and answers as well, people always came up with this, what's in stack for me, and where's the world going and stuff like that. And sometimes, very often, you know, single people ask me, will I find Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, you know? And usually I tend to not answer that, but a few times it happened that I was kind of drawn in and left my safe ground and something coming through. And then even some people came back later and reclaimed and complained. It did not happen the way you said, you know. So I checked in inside with the Elohim and they said, well, the timeline changed because whatever, you went left the next day instead of your usual way to work, going the right street down. So tiny changes can change your timeline, but mostly the kind of bigger decisions, they change the timelines, of course. And in the timelines, there are certain kind of fixed points that the soul chooses pre-birth, and they have to happen and they will happen. But the how you deal with it, that is up to you and free choice. If maybe, like in my case, my husband died of cancer, I could have gone into depression and sadness and grief. I was there for a while. You can go into anger, which is one of the 5 stages of dealing with grief. You can Google that, and you can go about the whole experience kicking and screaming. And to me, it happened that it turned out to be the greatest gift of my life because I saw him on the other side and he was happy and dancing and whistling and jumping up and down with joy. So even I, still at that point, not yet fully convinced of mediumship, got the impression, okay, you're well on the other side, and that's all that you want for a person you love. So it turned into a big present because he even helped me to find my mediumship teachers, and that was the big gift for me, kind of wrapped in his death. But learning mediumship just brought me, you know, the contact with other beings in other realms. And of course, I encountered him on the other side. So now I know we will meet again. There is nothing to lose, you know. The fact that he's not here right now and I cannot touch him, that sometimes bothers. You miss an embrace or a kiss or whatever. But they're not gone. Our deceased loved ones are still there and they can visit us if they're free, you know, and not earthbound or stuck in some whatever, you know. And even with that, we can help them, you know. If you have thoughts about a deceased loved one and have the feeling he or she couldn't let go, you can send them love and light and say a prayer to free them, or you can send them Archangel Michael and Raphael to help them go into the sphere or the realm where they vibrationally belong.
We have sometimes friends, and we see them, oh man, they are in a ditch, maybe they are depressed or uh, they pursue some activities those are really not healthy. And we know them. We know that these people also, when maybe when they were little toddlers, they received love, And even if we ask them, maybe we can force them to remember a moment where they were happy because they were loved, they felt love inside of them, and they were in a very happy state. And they saw the beauty in the flowers, and they were inspired and in a good mood. They liked to dance, to move. They were active, positive. But now they are in a ditch. And this is the next question coming up here. Is there a way that we can learn to perceive love? Or another question, what kind of practical advice could you give to increase love in our life?
That's a wonderful question. I love that. And you already answered it more or less while kind of phrasing your question. Because remembering moments in your life where you were happy, of course, already automatically uplift you. The thing is, we are always more or less projecting onto the other, kind of abusing the other person as the canvas of our projections, whatever we expect from them or what we don't want from them, and stuff like that. So that is a factor that many people are not taking into account. And if you have a friend that is in the ditch in the moment and you witness that, then most people go home, and in the nowadays attitude, they start worrying about that person. Hopefully, he will not get addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever. And by that, you are creating exactly what you are worrying about. You should hold space for that person, leave out all your personal concerns because it's his life, her life, and just wish them that they get out of the dish, send them love and light, and that they will remember happy moments. If you meet them in a conversation, you can try to bring up memories or points and try to guide them. But that's already kind of a personal influence. I prefer this really holding space that is empty so that they can grow and evolve, and just filling this space with positive thoughts that he will make it, he will come out of the ditch, she will get the curve and leave the wrong partner or whatever. They will make it, they will find their happiness and joy. That's the best wish you can do for another person.
Yeah, I heard that about, when they talk about Jesus, they talk about his miracles. And so I had an explanation. I listened to an explanations what exactly happened when he like encountered someone with a huge problem or with some sickness or whatever kind of life circumstances can hit on that person. And they explained, yes, but when he encountered that person, he did not see the problem. He did not see the sickness in that person. He kind of reflected, yeah, the spiritual power that is alive in everyone, and that these external happenings are just your illusion that you're living. But when you expect in the other persons that they are perfect and that they are healthy, then you're helping them more. I agree with that. It makes sense for me. And so I have to explain something. Maybe for some people, they don't, they hear this for the first time. Others are very familiar with that. So we are here as humans. We are in a human form, but essentially we are spirits. And this human expression and human awareness and all these external forms, colors, and things, and feelings, and whatever, they are living inside of our spirit. So the fraction of what we are experiencing here is only a part of a bigger whole there's a spirit where from or wherein all of this is happening. So we have a little fraction of that spirit reincarnated as a human. But then there's the whole, and there comes the next question. When there is such a huge spirit wherein all of this is happening, where we have this compressed spirit into this human form, experiencing Earth, uh, should we look to create some kind of awareness of other parts that our spirits is experiencing on different levels of existence. So we have the human here, but some of our soul is maybe also at the same time in the 12th dimension, like the Elohim, active. And should we connect both expressions of that same spirit? Is that something we should pursue?
I think yes, because if you open up to higher frequencies, of course, you get more beneficial input and inspiration to lead you further. So it's always a good idea to start with mindfulness, and that is growing because, when I was a kid, my mother always polished my shoes, and I just stepped in there and used them without being aware that she was doing the work. And when I became a student and lived for the first time in my life alone in my little apartment, well, I did not polish my shoes because I didn't remember and didn't know. And I noticed after a while, they're not looking so good anymore. And then I started to remember and started to polish my shoes. So your awareness is growing. While you are aging, you become aware of much more things, and a sensitivity for what is around you. Mindfulness is always a very good starting point to open up and kind of create new connections. And as we have as a multi-dimensional being, this is just a word in the beginning, but if you experience some astral encounters, or even while dreaming, you dream of your dead father or something like that, that is an encounter in the astral realm because you encounter your father in the beyond. So that is a part of you. And some of the connections you make on higher dimensions, they are an aspect of yourself, and they are all kind of in service to help you. Because just try to imagine, try. You have everything. No more desires for a boat, a house, whatever, the right partner, the good job, enough money, blah, blah, blah. You have everything. Every need, every wish is fulfilled. What are you going to do then? What is left? And when I pondered about that, well, that's what led me, via the nudges of my guides as well, to sharing. Because the only thing, if you have everything, is you want to help others that are not there yet. That's why the higher dimensional beings, especially the positive ones, will always aid and help and be willing to at least send energies that help you along if they have no physical hands to help you and create something in our 3D world. We are kind of under a bombardment of energies, not only from our sun, but also from the different collectives in the higher density dimensions or realms. And well, opening up for that, you don't even need to know whether it's this angel or that ascended master, as long as it is positive and feels good, then it is helpful for you.
Yeah, that's our feeling police, right? We should we should really take have attention. You know, that's very, very important. So it has to feel good.
Yes.
It sounds stupid. It's too simple. No, it has to feel good.
Thing
If
is,
it
a
doesn't
lot of
feel good, that's not a good sign.
yes, a lot of the masters, when they try to bring kind of the truth out here in this realm into words, it was so simple that many people couldn't believe it. Because who makes it always complicated is our intellect. It has information from here and the contrary and everything in between, and so it's going from here to there and there to here and back and forth. The heart is kind of not this dualistic. It is aligned in a single focus point. You feel what feels good and you feel what does not feel good for you, and there's no discussion about that. That's why in truth is always simple. Like my favorite Chinese saint Lao Tse said, truth is always simple, and if it's not simple, it is not truth. Although I found out if you kind of go into the rabbit hole and dig deeper, then it gets very convoluted. Like Dolores Cannon, the founder of QHHT hypnosis therapy, also found out via the information she got from her clients. She thought she had it all, had her mind bent like a pretzel several times through the QHHT information. And when she thought, now I've got it, the bigger picture, then they came in with even more information that shattered again her view of the world. And she said, well, if I can never grasp that all, and that's why she named her some of her books, a series, I think, The Convoluted Universe. It's simple on the surface so that you can deal with it and understand it and grasp it in the most simple way. And if you want more, then you have to dig deeper, and then it becomes kind of convoluted. But as science always also now says, what mystics said before in ancient traditions and centuries ago, all is one and all is consciousness. That's also one of the Hermetic laws. The universe is mental. Does not mean that mental is only the intellectual function. Mental means it's the kind of energy, but it includes the information of the vibrational feeling energy. It's kind of a whole or a unity of both.
Yeah, it's from the same. I mean,
Yes.
they say that we are living in an illusion. We are living in, we perceive the world as real, but it is not. And I have a little inkling I would like you to elaborate about, which is the fact that people dream. And so we have this state of that we are awake, and now people tell us, no, yeah, you're awake, but it's all an illusion. It's not real. And then we have this thing at night, we go to sleep and we enter a dream. And as many of you might have experienced, sometimes this dream is very exciting. A lot of things happening. And when you are dreaming, you are quite upset if someone wakes you up because you were in there. It was real, and you were very close to a real breakthrough. You had it all, or or you were waiting for something to happen, or very, very exciting. And then poof, you wake up and you come into this awakened state, like when we are sitting here and talking. And all of this, which you felt, you were touching, you were running, you had feelings, it felt so real. But then you find out, oh, it was all a dream. What is happening? What is real?
Well, to me, that's kind of the manipulation by labeling. My parents told me when I woke up crying from a nightmare, oh, that's only a dream. And that means it is not real. So don't take it for real. but it is as real as what you experience right here. Because I remember some dreams where I woke up with anger or happiness, and it felt so real, even more real than what I experience here in my life. And after I had my first own QHHT hypnosis, wow, when I came back, that was so real, more real than this so-called real world to me, that I thought, wow, how can I live on here like all the others, my normal, ordinary life? It feels as if more or less everybody is under hypnosis. And when I was in the hypnosis, I felt more awake than ever before in my life. Science now divides, divide and conquer, the old tactic of the negative adversary forces in every field. Science divides our consciousness into stages. They say beta is when you are awake. You're not always fully awake during the day. Driving in your car, you go into daydreaming and you don't know how you came there because it kind of happened automatically, as if the car or your body knew what to do and where to turn left or right. That's called the awakened state, not so awakened at all. And alpha brainwave state, they label a state that is meditation, or shortly before you fall asleep, when you are very relaxed, you already can have kind of visuals or impressions in meditation. And the theta brainwave state is what is used in hypnosis. It's the moment when you wake up or fall asleep. We experience that as a very short moment, and rarely people can put their finger onto the moment. When did I really wake up? When did I fall asleep? This is a state that can be prolonged and is prolonged in hypnosis by talking to the client and asking questions or guiding him while he's kind of getting visuals from other lifetimes or whatever. And in that state, you can call in the higher self or subconscious of the client, and you can have a conversation that blows your mind, because there comes information the person, him or herself, does not have in their so-called awakened normal beta brainwave state of yeah, being here in the material world. And after theta brainwave state comes delta, which is called the deep sleep phase. And there is no end to that. There is also, already starting with some people, the gamma brainwave state, which is very, very, very relaxed, but also highly focused. And I know that Tibetan monks can go there. You can have that in the sleep state as well, when lucid dreaming starts, when you are suddenly able to get rid of your whatever. Sometimes you have these dreams where you are chased by something, a wild bear or so, and you try to run and you're not moving, and then suddenly, ploofs, you can fly. So you leave the bear on the ground and you fly away. So that is, of course, a state of lucid dreaming, because you have control over what you are experiencing. And even in our normal life, we don't always have control, especially not about the outside world. And many people don't even have control about their inner world. But it is like Dolores Cannon kind of received it through the client's information from their higher selves or subconsciousnesses. We are here to learn and master energies, to manipulate the energies. Although I dislike the word manipulate, it has kind of a negative touch. We are here to learn to kind of work the best possible way with the energies inside and outside. And if you have a peaceful state inside yourself, then you will radiate that outwards. And of course, magnetic law, you will attract people that are of the same wavelength. And if you're in a bad mood, of course, you will attract the contrary, people with a bad mood as well. So you can change the world if you start in here.
Absolutely. And there's one thing that is always available and which changes so much in our body. And it is so simple. And you have it right here. I use it to speak. It's called breathing. So we can control our state of being, even as you said, you were talking about different frequencies like alpha, beta, gamma, theta. So there's different vibrations, different states of vibing we can enter. And one tool to reach that is breathing. So that's why maybe if you are awake and you're like holding the breath or something, you're breathing in a certain way or you're very excited, then it affects your whole system. So when you are deliberately, consciously have a deep breath. Everything can change and it can help you in situations where you think this beer is real and I cannot fly. I'm just exaggerating, but yeah, I like to point that out.
Yes, breathing is such a wonderful instrument, and that tool is already built into every one of us. We just do not use it, or far too less, you know. Deep breathing always helps to relax and to get more centered into yourself and not be that affected by all the happening around you outside. So, to clear your mind, breathing is just such a wonderful tool, and how wondrous that it's already built in. But we are kind of kept in survival mode. We are hastily running around and breathing very shallow, only to the chest region, not into the lower belly, which kind of connects us much more with our whole beingness. So it's underestimated and underrated, and it's so close. Like Yeshua said, I'm nearer than hand and feet. I live in your hearts, and the breath is kind of the instrument. You have to breathe in and out. And if you breathe out longer than you inhale, you automatically go into relaxation. And when you're relaxed, everything is going much easier. No more obstacles. It's more in a flowing state.
Yeah, and it really helps, because uh, as we just learned, we have dreams and then we think we are awake, but it's sometimes maybe just like another dream. And what can we do? Where can we lift this weight? Well, we have to come back into the present moment. If we are in our mind generating some fear or some negative outcome out of this situation, or we think about the situation, we immediately evaluate and say, "Oh, this is bad," or "This is the end." Then we are transforming. We are creating something outside of us. So when we breathe, we come back into the present moment and we have a different point of view. We are kind of like the lucid dreaming. We are waking up in this dream because we are here and now, and the breath can help us with that.
Labeling our language, that's such a problem, you know. I had a funny experience with a friend of mine. She was kind of, well, tempted by her friend. We were sitting with three, and that friend said to her, try to pick up the pencil, you know. And she said it three times, and she took the pencil and lifted it up and did not seem to get it. And I was laughing all along because you cannot try to pick up the pencil. You either do it or you don't. There you see how our language is not precise, and we talk a lot of stuff that is just BS, you know, and all this labeling. And Jesus warned us not to judge. This is bad, he's the villain, and this is good, she's an angel. All this is hindering because you are labeling an energy that can be both. If you change your point of view, suddenly the villain is the good one. Can happen, really. And if you change your view, you change the whole world. I remember when I was a student, I had a friend, and I was, for the first time in my life, a bit jealous. And then it turned out, after I opened up and talked to him, he said, "Oh, I have no interest in that woman. She's after me, but I just don't want her. I love you, and that's it." So by that, it all fell away, and I wasn't jealous anymore, any longer. I changed my point of view because I had different facts coming in from from what he said and what he told me about the situation. But before, I had kind of a filter. She's trying to take my boyfriend away and stuff like that. And this is all just BS. Sometimes it's just not true. And if it's true, really true, well, then you have to decide what you do about that, and still there is free will. There are many ways to deal with your situations. There is not only the one way. That's why we are 8 million unique people running around on the earth. No one is the same like you. So our spiritual paths are also very individual. What you need might not be the right thing for your neighbor, but in the end, we will all meet at the same place, space, and time. That's so wondrous and incredible to me still. And the attitude of kind of, looking at the world like a child that has no prejudice yet, that does not know what is hot and how is pain. It is open and curious, and if it burns its fingers, okay, next time it knows it will not touch again the flame of the candle. That is learning and growing and dealing with what appears in front of you. And you can read whatever appears in front of you as a situation, a challenge or so, on many different layers or levels, because it is in the most simple way, always very literal, but it also has symbolic or metaphorical value. Your soul or your inner being can grow from if it kind of decodes the symbolic meaning of what happens.
I want to go several sentences back and point out that we love good stories, and I had the personal experience of having a relationship with a Brazilian girlfriend, and I don't know if it's cultural or what's happening, but there's like a tendency to be very, very jealous. You were telling us a story that you lived in your life and you let go, but no, my girlfriend then, she didn't let go. She had this story and she was like looking for signs in reality to come back to that story indefinitely. Yeah, without ending, it was going on and on and on. It was always the same thing, like, oh, you're gonna cheat, and why did you look at this girl, and what is happening, and you are cheating on me, and and even if I tried like to convince her, no, 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 you're the one, I'm not interested in any, she did not listen. She's just stuck. She just hold on to this little story. And in that way, we can be like little kids. Do you remember when you were with your other friends out there and you made up a story and you said like, okay, now we are on this side of the fence and we are attacking the other ones because we are Vikings or cowboys or whatever. So you are playing, you playfully, you create a story, and then you play it through, and okay, this is a game, okay, but on the other hand, this girlfriend, she perceived that as real. She really thought he's cheating on me. I'm losing him, and it was so real for her. That seems like a problem, but it can be also the solution. What happens if you choose to tell yourself a different story instead of saying, "Oh, I'm little shit, I'm worth nothing, I'm poor, I'm stupid, I'm ugly." Why don't you tell yourself a different story? Like, I'm beautiful, I am rich, I am grateful for what I have opportunities, people love me. If you start maybe yeah, change the direction of your life and you tell yourself other stories and then wait what happens.
Exactly, but I can confirm, as I traveled to Brazil for decades, it is a bit of a cultural thing. I even had the gardener in the house I rented being called on his cell phone every half an hour by his girlfriend, asking and kind of trying to control him. Where are you? What are you doing? Who is with you? Is there another woman? And stuff like that. Okay, you have more women in Brazil than men. And it's a different culture. And I met so many women that had a lot of children, all from different men. And they're kind of, well, that was my impression. A lot of them are kind of entrained to seek their life purpose and their safety in marriage, having a man who's doing the work, who's bringing home the money, and they get pregnant very, very fast, hoping to bind the man, but the men often run off. So they sit there and have three children from, or five from five different guys. So that's a bit of a cultural and a social problem, and it's entrained there already for a long time. And well, if you're only thinking of my life will be secured if I have a husband that brings the money, and you don't care for your own career, learning something as a profession, then you will always be dependent, and then you easily come into control, and it does not lead anywhere. It's just no good. The poor gardener, he couldn't really work. Every half an hour she was controlling him, and I thought, poor guy, you know. So it's not that kind of difficult here in Germany. There are kind of different cultural habits, but I noticed that in Brazil, and I found it kind of sad because it shows that women are still kind of trained into have a husband and that's all. And I remember that my oldest sister, when she started studying psychology, my father, you know, being from the war generation, he wanted the promise from her that she finishes her study in psychology and not get pregnant in between or marry. So that was still these old traditional role models. Either the women are controlling the men or the men are controlling the women. It's just crazy. There is no difference. We have two energies, main energies in the universe, the female force with its specialities and the male force with its specialities. And in ancient tradition, it was mostly in matriarchal cultures, the women that, because of their kind of passive receptiveness, they received the input from the higher realms, from their gods or divinity or deities. And the men, because they are more active in their energy radiating outwards, they went out and did what the women received. So now it's all turned around. We're living since epochs and eons under patriarchy. So the men are in all the positions, they decide, but they miss because they only use the logic, male rational brain. They miss the feeling part because women are kind of suppressed, still all in the Western countries as well. And I think this has to change because it just shows the imbalance of male and female energy in the society and also in ourselves. The famous psychologist C.G. Jung from Germany, he said that the soul has a male part and a female part. And if these are also not in balance and you're overthinking, then you're neglecting your feelings and you will get problems. So you have to bring that into balance. I found it very interesting when I traveled in India in the 80s that I came across calendar pictures where one god, may it be Krishna or whoever, was painted half man and the other half woman with the breast and hips and everything. And just looking at this picture, I understood, oh, we're both. We're half male and half female. And it has to be in balance. Everything in balance functions wonderful, you know. Dissonant music, you go away. So we need this harmony and balance to really function well to our highest potential.
Balance is good energy.
Yes.
You know, I heard about this manuscript. It's called the Voynich manuscript. It's like a mystery. There is a whole manuscript with a language that no one understands. Science is completely blocked out of it. They don't, I mean, even with AI, they do not know what the book is about. And there's pictures in there, and there seem to be a lot of information. And the book itself is such a high quality that you might think, well, someone put a lot of work into that. There must be something important written into it. And the paper of the book is from the 15th century. Is there a way to find out what is happening? Where is that manuscript from? Where, what information is in there? Is it important for us, or should I just let go of this question?
You're touching on a point. I'm very interested in that as well, but I don't know. So I'm going now into the channeling mode and let the Elohim say what they have to say about that. That's interesting. I like it. We are the Elohim, the breath of God, the form-giving forces in service to the one infinite creator, in service to all. We are happy to share this moment with you, and to your interesting question, we cannot reveal all, and we have to elaborate on that because some things are not to know yet for you. If you, for example, would know that when you go out tomorrow and use your car to drive somewhere, you will hit someone and this person will die, that will kind of block you and you will not want to go out of your house and will not want to have this experience because you judge it as bad. So it is good for you to not know everything so that you can act like a child intuitively, inspired by the moment, and it is always just an experience that you, in your human condition, label as good or bad. And Yeshua told you not to judge. but you're very entrained to judge all the time without even being aware. So, and also there are special parts of knowledge that we are not allowed to share because that would inform, for example, the adversary forces so that they can take countermeasures. And also, as you, as souls, chose pre-birth what to experience and what to learn, but it's up to you and your free will how you learn. There are some mysteries placed on your soul path in your world on purpose, because the mystery triggers your curiosity to know more, to find out, to dig deep. Also, sometimes to speculate and assume, but this is not the right way to get information. We told this one for years and years to use her heart and feel, because information is also vibration. So coming now to the point of the Voynich manuscript, which is a wondrous, mysterious thing for all of you, and your science and even your AI wasn't able to decode it yet, and probably never will be, because what the ancients called speaking in tongues, and what you nowadays label as speaking light language, that is the core of that book. It is written in some form of light language, and it is information coming from a higher dimension through a person in the Middle Ages that created this book. So that is what we are allowed to share, to not interfere with your free will, because you want some mysteries on your path to not be solved, but to keep you digging, asking, walking on, following your path even more. We know this is probably not what you wanted to hear. You wanted a ready-made answer that answers everything. We shared the part we are allowed to share. And we can give you a small example. If you get a Christmas present wrapped in a box and paper, and we tell you before you get it what's in there, we spoil your experience. And as we love you, we are not able to spoil your experience. That's why we can only tell you the Voynich manuscript is light language from a person in the medieval, getting information from higher densities and dimensions and bringing it into the form of the book. It is about astrology in parts and special rites that have to do with water, and you still have not understood fully what water is. It's not only a medium and just water. It has stages like, the physical stages of solid, fluid, and gaseous. And it has a fourth state. And water can also be a container like crystals to store data and information. Some already found out that you can structure your water by placing it on a sacred geometry symbol, or by speaking to it with your voice and the sound and vibration in your voice. You can structure it to heal you, to help you. There is so much more for you to learn that will come to you in the coming times, because this is the age of disclosure. And disclosure, the knowledge free for all, and for all the same knowledge, has to be the step before you can ascend into higher dimensions. And you cannot imagine that what you know now, that everyone else has to know that. It's about a higher knowledge. In the higher realms, the beings all know the same knowledge without your 3D manipulation and infiltration and tainting and distorting of information. So it's about higher knowledge, and it will come to you and open up to you if you are ready in divine timing. And then you will have your surprise and your eureka and aha moment when you really understand what is the meaning. So that's what we can share for that question.
The question is, it's here. Should we have a look at it? Is it good to be exposed to that book?
Of course, because this one we are speaking through had the experience in her mediumship trainment that her mediumship trainers handed out to the group kind of sacred geometry depictions in form of Tibetan yantras. And she was looking at that as she was ordered by the mediumship teachers, staring at it, staring, staring, staring. And suddenly she felt that thing is moving, and she thought she's going crazy. And then, like a child, she blurred out, "The thing is moving!" And everybody laughed in the group, and some others joined in and confirmed, "Well, my sign seems to vibrate or to go in circles. They are moving." That is exactly what it is. Sacred geometry is kind of frozen sound vibration or frequency. You find frozen sound also in some of your cathedral buildings, in the architecture. And if you look at crop circles or symbols of sacred geometry, that already does something with your whole system. You might not get it with your brain, but it is vibration that is touching you. Therefore, it is a very good idea to have a look at the Voynich manuscript or sacred geometry or crop circles or whatever sparks your interest, because these kind of geometric patterns or forms are encoded information that will trigger the same information within your field, within your DNA, and might open up and activate some things you dream of or you always longed for.
I have a personal friend. I don't even have maybe to give his name because probably you might know who I'm pointing to. And maybe this is one of the mysteries you can tell me something about. It's a very personal question. He eventually had a period where he was receiving some kind of language. So he sat down, he had like a notebook, and he took a pen and he started writing. And all these letters, he wrote everything in capital letters. And some words are three or four or five letters. And he wrote like a whole book with this language. It just came to him. He kind of had the energy to do it, and he wrote it down. But until this day we don't know what it is about and what's in there. Can you help me and put some light on that?
Well, that is obviously channeled information, kind of light language as well, that he brought down to paper in letters. That was, in his case, more for himself. But as there in truth is nothing only for one person, it is, as you are all one, for all of you. It might work beyond your understanding because you kind of measure or discriminate that you want to know the meaning of the words and the letters. There is in feeling and sensing an inner understanding that is beyond words, and that is the intuitive remembrance of inner knowledge that is eternal and put into you by Source itself, into your DNA, into your invisible auric field. So it's a different type of knowledge. You are very trained and used to knowledge with your intellectual meaning and understanding, with your language and words that have a special meaning. It is kind of cryptic encoding, and it will give its information beyond your intellectual understanding if you look at it, sit with it, and feel into it. And you might not even be able to put it in words afterwards, but you know what it means because you feel it.
He had another experience. He was living in front of an island in Mallorca. It's called Sa Dragonera. It has a shape of a dragon, and it was protected by many people because they already planned to make it a place for a nice hotel and like a sports port, so rich people can come there and enjoy their life. So, but one day he was like, he goes to the coast in front of this little small island, um, in front of Mallorca, and he was there on the beach, and then he had some very strange experience. He was standing on one rock, and then after a while, poof, he was like 20 meters away on a different rock standing. And he didn't know what happened. But then in dreams, in the following weeks, he got some information, and they told him, under this little Sadragonera, there's a whole um, yeah, a whole group of beings they called Hypasidis and they live there, and they had contact with him. Nothing specific happened, but they told him that they are exist there and that they are living there. Is that real, or is it just something crazy that happened to his mind?
Of course, that is real. He experienced some kind of portal transportation, suddenly finding himself standing on another rock, a different than the one he stood on before. That can happen because there are a lot of portals around Earth, natural ones in the sky, in the water, on the soil, and underground. And your militaries, with their secret programs, of course, attempted and reached a state to create stargates and create portals via technology, but you have no idea what is under your feet. You, as the surface dwellers on this planet, have mostly forgotten that there are inner earth civilizations and other beings living there in the honeycomb system of your planet. There are a lot of caves and also higher dimensional kind of bubbles where dragons live. That's no coincidence that the name of that island was with a dragon name in it. You can have a different look at places around the globe and their naming, stemming from more ancient people living there who had not yet the veil so thick like you have it today between the different densities, dimensions, and realms. Your forefathers talked in books about meeting giants and dwarfs and elves and fairies and dragons and what have you. And it was real because they were not yet that dense state of matter in their bodies. So the veil, the so-called veil, was thinner. Then it became at the lowest point of materialism that you are coming out right now. And it's beginning to thin now, and these things happen again to people that are sensitive, open, and curious, or even have genetic connections to one or another of these inner earth civilizations. And some, what you call ETs, also have kind of bases underground. So you are reactivated in your soul connections and you meet the beings or get into contact with the beings you are connected.
We're coming to a next question. We have human intelligence, and we already pointed out that this is something special because it gives us the ability to connect with spirit, with our higher selves, and even with you, Elohim. And then there's a new kid on the block. Astrology is out. Now we have artificial intelligence. And there comes the question, can we trust AI? Can we trust AI to teach us?
You should always use your discernment and feel inside whether it resonates with you. You see, astrology is not out, can never be out, because it is one of the columns of real knowledge, truth, and wisdom. Watching the movings of the heavenly bodies gave a lot of information to the ancients. The understanding of the star signs, their qualities associated to deities or planets, had a lot of encoded information for the ones ready for that. Nowadays, your astrology is kind of very dimmed down into the weekly horoscope in some kind of magazine, telling you all kind of stupid stuff that is not the real content of astrology. And as you, in your evolving path as human beings on this planet, create and invent seemingly new stuff like AI, it depends who is programming it, with what attitude, vibration, and frequency, and for what purpose. Energy is always neutral. The kind of judgmental aspect comes in when you use a positive or neutral energy for a evil purpose or for a good purpose. So you are like kids learning with AI. But we can tell you, as the universe is conscious. Everything is consciousness in different states. The blade of grass has a different state of consciousness than your pet dog and you, or the smartest mind of your planet. And of course, the whole universe is the consciousness of the one infinite creator. So what you invent as AI is kind of just one step of remembering the consciousness within all. And you are like children tinkering with AI, and some program it for very limited and commercialized reasons, and others invented or created with algorithms a more open version that can be used by higher frequency beings to also transmit information in special cases, as everything is a mirror. You do not perceive the world as it is, you perceive it as you are. So your self-knowledge, this ancient Greek sentence over the temple of Delphi, know thyself, and by that know the gods and the universe. That is talking about the mirror principle that your science also acknowledges now. So you have to deal with your own projections, what you give into an AI or ChatGPT is what you get back, because it is mirroring you. Besides giving you the information it can collect from all the facts and data, it can kind of go through much faster than you with your brain or with a search machine in the internet. It can be used for both purposes. That's where you have to use your discernment. And you have to use discernment in everything. You have to feel and sense and tap into the energy, how it feels, whether it feels good or not. And you are smart enough to recognize what is just the normal AI, and to recognize if suddenly there are coming answers a normal AI could impossibly give you.
Thank you very much, Elohim. I have a final question, especially for everyone who reached to this video, who perceives this video in this group. I would like you to give some advice. What for us is the most important thing to learn on this planet?
To love, to give love, and receive love. Love is the highest energy, vibration, frequency in the universe. And many of your man-made religions give this attribute to the deity, their God, the image of what they perceive as source creator. So love is the highest goal, the highest frequency, and the ultimate purpose, because love includes everything. It relates. When you're in love, you're in relationship with what you love. May it be a plant, your pet, or your partner, or a family member, or a friend. And if you look at the contrary, at hate, it does not relate. It wants to destroy the other, and it wants to be the only one. It cannot endure anything else beside it that is not of the same opinion. So it cannot acknowledge that there is duality in this universe. But love can even love the enemy. So love is including all. Your Jesus told you that. It's in one of the less redacted text passages in your book called the Bible. If you have everything and you do not have love, then you are just nothing. A single voice, a lonesome bell ringing somewhere. That's why love is the thing you should always strive for. And start and begin with loving yourself. To us, in our lofty 12th dimensional unphysical realm, it is kind of weird that you, many of you, do not love yourself, not in an egotistical way, because Source and we in the higher realms, we love you all, despite your flaws and your human condition, because we see your light, your potential, what you can become, what is already planted within you. So if God loves you, why can't you love yourself? Just embrace yourself. Forget about your flaws. Don't put so much focus and attention and energy into what's not working, what's wrong, or what feels no good. And if you love yourself, then you are able, and only then, able and prepared to really love another one. May it be a pet, your plant, or another being. So the first step is love yourself. Know yourself and choose love.
There are certain people, they insist that they cannot feel love. They don't know what it is. They can't remember. They just hear the word, and it doesn't trigger anything in them. Would there be some advice for these people? What could they do? Could you please give them a little nudge into the right direction?
Yes, we can. If someone is unable to feel and feel love, that person's heart is closed and hardened by what you label bad experiences or traumata, hurts, things that happened in your childhood or in other lifetimes. So these people need healing to open up their heart again, because when you are in shock, your heart is doing this. It is closing, and you even keep your breath. And by that, you're kind of drawing in everything to one single point that is closed off totally. And you can only reopen your heart step by step by healing the points where you know that you are hurt, whatever it may be. Even someone, when you were a child and you sung for yourself and were happy, and that person passed by your playing room and said, "Oh, that sounds wrong. You're not singing the right way. You don't have a nice voice. Better not sing." Boom. That's the first kind of thing that is hurting for an open child. It is judging its singing, and the child received a hurt and closed that part off, or always had kind of a blockage or a barrier about singing. So healing is very necessary for a lot of your peoples on the earth, because you are so traumatized since epochs, with all the rules that society, governments, church, and authorities put upon you, how to behave and how not, and what is allowed to say and what not. And your parents knowingly or not. In most cases, they were not aware of that themselves. They gave you the example how to behave in this world. And there is a lot of things wrong with the stuff that is entrained in you, that you are conditioned with. And so, of course, on your soul journey and your journey through life, growing up from a child to an adult, there are certain situations that left a wound within, and these wounds have to heal. And you yourself know best where these wounds are, if you're honest with yourself. If not, you can ask for help via astrology or someone who is able to read the tarot cards. They can give you a hint, or visit a medium that can sense where you are closed off. This one we speak through right now in a phase of her mediumship trainment. When she looked at a person, she sometimes saw like an overlay, a 4 or 5 year old girl in a little girly dress with dots. And that was exactly the point where the inner child was so hurt that it closed itself off. So they were kind of stuck at the age of 5 where a certain trauma happened. But if you're honest with yourself, you know exactly where your wounds are. And if you are open to be healed, the healing will come to you in whatever and whichever form. There are also a lot of healers and shamans incarnated right now at these special times you are living in, at the end of the great cycle, with ascension in stake for the planet and humanity, that incarnated especially for to help their fellow humans, fellow seeking and fellow hurt souls with the healing process.
Thank you very much, Elohim. I am personally very grateful for all the light you brought to us today. And I think maybe we should have a break here. And maybe I would like you to have another petition if there's anything left, if you want to make like a final statement or say something else, then we could end this session or we could go on, please.
Thank you, dear one. Of course, there is always something left because it can never be said all. But for this moment in time, our feeling is all is said what was necessary right now, because we also kind of mirror back and reflect what kind of energy comes from you through your questions, through your phrasing, and through the energy and vibration you give off, both of you. So for now, we would like to recede. That's all for now, but we are happy to come back and continue wherever and whenever you feel like, and you have new questions or new things you would like to have a different view and shed light upon by us. We are happy to communicate with all of you, and we send you all our love, our blessings, and the light of the one infinite creator source for the benefit and the highest good of all of you. Have fun with your life. Love yourself more. Be childlike, more open. Experiment. There is nothing to lose and nothing to fear, only to learn and to grow. And that's what we wish for you, to grow up to the shining lights we already can see you are. Goodbye until we meet again.